Hey my ducks, it's Simon here. Welcome back to the Hermit's Cave. So, it's Bank Holiday Monday, which means a day off work, but it means that I don't have to stay in and wait for post or anything like that because there isn't any on bank holidays. It's a national holiday. I think we get 7 a year, and this is the last one now until Christmas. So Christmas Day and Boxing Day are next two bank holidays. So I thought I'd make the most of it and get up really early. So I woke up at 6, had a coffee in bed, caught up on social media. It's now around 7:30 a.m, I think, 7:45, something like that. And I wanted to just jump on and record this video because it looks like it's a really nice day for the last day of August. So I thought I'd go outside for a bit today and do some walking and just have a wander around. So I don't very often do those videos where it's like my month roundups or catch-ups or for me, because I tend to, particularly with tarot decks, I tend to show everything anyway and do unboxings and walkthroughs. I find that I'm repeating myself, but there's been a lot of people asking for monthly roundups, and I'm not going to say it's going to be a new thing, but I'm going to do it every month. I'll just, if I feel like it, I will do a bit of a roundup. But today's a day off. I would normally be in work, and weekends are pretty full up. So I have the rare opportunity now of being able to do this. So my August, wow, and it has been, in some ways it feels like a really long month, and in other ways it's just flown by. But when I think back to the 1st of August, I was in Glastonbury, and that feels like forever ago now. Even though I got there on the 31st of July, our official meetup date before the lockdown and everything else was the 1st of August. And so we kept that date, but we didn't really expect anybody to come. Flights had to be cancelled, hotels were cancelled. Originally was having people from Australia, America. But what we've decided to do, because a lot of people wanted to see Glastonbury, instead of jumping around next year, we will do it all again. And people have already booked accommodation things for next August. So fingers crossed. But we still went ahead anyway, and there's myself, Elle and Sandra. Elle, who's on the channel Wolf Meets Witch, and Sandra from The Whispering Well. And even on the day, we had a couple of people join us. B from Red Bean B, Julia Breinhart, and one of her friends and partner was there. So there was a small group of us that had some lunch together. We also hung out in the evening for a little bit at the Georgian Pilgrims. But it was a really fantastic weekend. It was just such a nice getaway. I did buy some decks, which I'll show you again when I do kind of start talking about decks. But one of the main things that I wanted to get when I was there was a goddess, because I wanted to revamp my spiritual spaces. And the first one that you'll notice is my main sort of, I don't really want to call it an altar because that kind of gives it a religious connotation, but it's certainly a sacred space. And you'll see the goddess here that I bought, and I absolutely love her. She wasn't the first goddess, but I had to go back and get her because she was so beautiful. I also brought this frame. So I showed this picture that I got of the tour, and I just fell in love with it. I saw a similar one in Sandra's apartment, and then Happy Glastonbury was stocking the print. So just in the last couple of days, this frame has arrived, and that's now on my sacred space too. The one behind me here, you will see, is the original goddess that I bought, but I'd already got the hair, and there was a few other things. I got some of these frothy candles. I bought the wall plaque with the moon gazing hair to go below Becca's twigs. But I really love this corner of the room. It's so peaceful. It's got all my favorite things on it. And yeah, I just adore it. So they were the main things that I bought while I was in Glastonbury. But of course, you can't go to Glastonbury and not get a whole raft of other things. And I bought crystals and all sorts of stuff. And also was able to refill my Chalice Well water. So I've got another bottle of Chalice Well water and a huge 2-litre bottle that's in the kitchen under the sink. You know, for wiping things down, cleansing things, all that sort of good stuff. So, let's start with TV shows that I've really enjoyed. And because I've had a good 17 days off during August, which is the majority of August, right? I've been able to watch some really good TV, and yeah, we're still kind of in semi-lockdown here. There's still lots of restrictions in place. And I don't think I've ever watched so much Netflix in the last 5 months in my entire life. But what else can you do? But the first one I just wanted to mention is I finally got around to finishing watching Schitt's Creek. I love that. It's written by the Levies. So what's the son's name has gone right. I want to call him David because that's the character's name. But Eugene Levy and his son, whose name has escaped me. If I remember, it will appear at the bottom of the screen now. But yeah, it's so good. Such a good program. Kelly Bear told me about it. I started to watch it and it took me a while to kind of get into it. And then the more I did get into it, the 6 seasons, the quicker I watched them towards the end. And the finale was just wonderful. So I really enjoyed Schitt's Creek. The rest have been a little bit more gritty and darker. So that was really good humour. And I've been still watching the odd Golden Girls every so often. If things get a little bit too heavy with TV, I've popped an episode of Golden Girls on because that always does the trick. Let me just have a sip of coffee. So I watched Unbelievable, which is on Netflix. And Unbelievable is based on a true crime of a serial rapist. So it is pretty heavy going, even more so when you realise that this actually happened to somebody. But it's about a young girl who basically wasn't believed when she was attacked, sexually assaulted. She wasn't believed. She had very unsympathetic police officers, a support system around her because she'd got a troubled past. And not only was she not believed, but she was prosecuted for gross misdemeanor and went to court. And because she wasn't believed, obviously then this attacker went on to attack more people. And one of the detectives, there's 2 detectives from 2 different districts that team up together to try and catch the attacker, was Toni Collette, who I've admired her work for years, right from Muriel's Wedding back in the 90s through to things like Sixth Sense, etc. Really good. But yeah, it's quite hard. Like I said, particularly because, you know, it really happened. This really happened. So that was something. I think it's worth a watch. I think it's seeing the process, and I'm not going to spoil the ending, but justice prevails. Then I watched The Fall. Now, The Fall started in 2013, so it's 7 years ago. And I remember my boss in my old job telling me to watch this program and watching it. And the first episode just really couldn't get into it. And then Julie from Little Zen Crone kept saying to me, you should watch The Fall. And I tried again. And I think I got into the second episode and couldn't get into it. And then everybody was talking about The Fall, because it's been, the whole 3 seasons have been uploaded to Netflix. So I sat down determined, because I have ADD, my mind gets distracted, to switch off all my devices, have nothing to kind of distract me around me, no tarot decks or anything like that, and just really focus. And it hooked me. And I ended up watching all 3 seasons in 3 days. Gillian Anderson, wow, loved her before, love her even more if that's possible now. Such an amazing actor, and very harrowing, very edge of your seat thriller, but phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I'd recommend it to anybody. And because I was then in sort of a Gillian Anderson, I then watched Sex Education. And I think that was 2 seasons, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was very light-hearted, kind of like American Pie-ish. It is based in England. I think it's in Cornwall, I think. It could even be Wales, it might not be England. But it's certainly in the UK. And but it's filmed like it's an American high school, and that was done deliberately because it was kind of taking you back to those sort of 90s high school films. But really funny, really good, very sweet stories within that. I hope there's going to be another season, but I've watched those 2 and really enjoyed them. The last thing that I watched in terms of series is Dirty John. And again, Dirty John is based on case files of true events. And there is a 2nd season now, which is called Dirty John Betty Broderick. And I've watched the first 2 episodes of that. I'm not really that... Christian Slater is in that season. I'm not really that invested into it yet. So I've come away from it, and I thought I'll see if I continue watching that. But the first season, Dirty John, is Eric Bana, who was the Time Traveller's Wife. And it's really good. It's really good. But it's based on true stories, and it's about manipulation, coercion. And do you really know the person you fall in love with? And indeed, in this case, marry. His whole life was fabricated. Complete narcissist. And it's unbelievable, and it has devastating consequences for the family. But just how he manipulates is terrifying. It's terrifying to see it acted out. But we all know that happens, you know. Narcissists walk amongst us. So that's the series. In terms of films, I've only seen 1 film, and it was very recently, and that was Fractured, also on Netflix. No spoilers, but I loved it, and it kept my attention all the way through. It is about what happens when the mind can play tricks on you, and when something terrible happens in your life, how that coping mechanism through the mind can alter your reality. And it's just so good. It's really, really good. Particularly how it all unfolds at the end. You kind of know where you're going with it, but it even makes you doubt of what's happening. So that's TV, film and TV. Some shows that I've really enjoyed during August. In terms of books, I've been terrible with books. I've managed to read, I was going to say a children's book, but it's not a children's book. And I have showed this book recently. But Neil Gaiman's illustrations by Charles Vess is brilliant. It's an analogy for life. It talks about finding a door. Touch the wooden gate in the wall you never saw before. Say please before you open the latch and go through. That's kind of like birth into a new world. But it is so good. It's lots of little gems. It's just really good. If an eagle gives you a feather, keep it safe. You know, what are the treasures that we seek? If any creature tells you that it hungers, feed it. If it tells you that it's dirty, clean it. If it cries to you that it hurts, if you can, ease its pain. It's such a lovely book. So I saw that on Goliath's channel, and I got it, and it came the next day. I've got some witchy books that I bought. So I got the Little Book of Witchcraft, which I'm quite enjoying. This is nice. I've just dropped my bookmark from where I was. So I've lost my page. But it's nice, and you can just dip in and out there. And then I got this one, which is The Modern Witch's Guide to Happiness. And again, it's got everything in here. Got a little bookmark in there where I'm up to as well, which is around awakening your intuition and listening to your gut. And then Sandra brought to Glastonbury and gifted it me the Complete Idiot's Guide to Wicca and Witchcraft. And whilst I don't want to prescribe to any particular religion within paganism like Wicca, I think there's still some gems in here that you can extract and bring into your practice. And I've always been like that, you know. I've said before, I'm very much a spiritual shopper, and I will take things that resonate with me and kind of form my own traditions, my own rituals. And I think that really works without feeling that I need to follow something exclusively and to the letter. But with Glastonbury and with these books, and I've mentioned again, I think it was in a couple of Catchment Cards quite recently, I do feel that the pagan side, the witchcraft pagan side of my practice is growing stronger. And I've always, you know, followed the Sabbats, the Wheel of the Year, revered nature, had total respect for Gaia and had representation of Gaia. But since Glastonbury, again, and being in those Sacred Isle of Avalon, being up at the Tor and at the Chalice Well, all those experiences of just, I always come away feeling really supercharged. And so I think I've often called myself as a pagan Buddhist, and I think we're all Buddhists. My personal belief is we all have Buddha nature, and I still meditate. I've really kind of been focusing more on my pagan side of my spirituality. So that brings us on to decks. And at first I was thinking, well, I haven't bought that many decks during the month of August, but I've been very fortunate because I've received some lovely gifts as well. But when I was at Glastonbury, there was a couple of decks that I got. The first one was, and it was on day one as soon as I got there, was the Inner Child cards. And this is a fairy tale tarot. It's by Aisha Lerner and Mark Lerner. It comes with a really nice big book, and this is a really big set. They are black and white, and it will just have the fairy tale like Sleeping Beauty. The problem with this deck is, I mean, it's lovely. It's in these plastics so no cards can slip or get damaged. I quite like the simplicity of the backs, but these cards are paper thin, really bad. Probably the worst cardstock of any deck that I've got. So if I was creative, I would probably back them. I mean, look how thin the deck is. But it's got cards like Alice in Wonderland, and it's got the lovely fairy tale book. We've got Peter Pan, Beauty and the Beast. And the artwork is really nice. We've got Snow White. So they're all there. And then for the minors, we just have 5 of Wands, 6 of Wands, etc. We don't have the fairy tale link to it. But again, when you read the book, it's all there. Aladdin and the Magic Lamp. We've got Mother Goose. The Emperor's New Clothes. I love the Wizard for the Hierophant card. Look at that. So the artwork is really nice. I did work with it, and I worked with it quite a bit at first. Cards started to get a little bit damaged because they're so thin. But during the month, I also received the Fairy Tale Tarot by Baba Studios from the lovely Moon Whisperer, who also, by the way, gifted me this Hermit t-shirt, which I adore. And this was an early birthday present. For the last couple of years, this lovely soul has sent me a birthday present every October. But she sent it early because she knew that I was trying to trade for this deck, and I'd got a deck that I was going to trade with, and she contacted me and said, don't trade any decks. She didn't say what it was, but she said, don't trade any decks because there's something coming your way. And she sent me Baba Studios, which is out of print, really kind, and the book, this gorgeous deck of the Fairy Tale Tarot. And the colours and artwork. I mean, everybody knows what they're getting with a Baba Studios deck. These are the backs, by the way, which are really beautiful as well. So intricate in its design. But yeah, so I kind of put my inner child cards away. And I've been working with this deck. But, you know, the stories in the Baba Studios book with this deck is just wonderful. You pull your card and it gives you the fairy tale. So you get the fairy tale, then you get the card meaning and keywords and everything else. But really, really gorgeous. So thank you. You know who you are, Moon Whisper. It's been such a highlight of August to receive this deck and to be working with it. Also from Glastonbury, I bought the Avalonian Oracle, and I kind of regret this because I wanted something to, and they just kind of sit in there like that. I think I took the insert out actually. I wanted something to kind of remind me of my time in Glastonbury. I mean, I've got the Glastonbury Tarot, it's out of print, you can't buy it there, but the Glastonbury Tarot is okay. But it's not that Glastonbury-ish. And I don't know really what I expect to get. And this deck is nice. It's by Schiffer. But what I'd forgotten was I'd already got at home the Mists of Avalon Oracle. And I actually prefer this deck. It comes with a little book, a little compact book. I love the backs. I think the backs are gorgeous. And this one in particular, I find that I work with a lot more. So it's got the Sacred Grove. You'll see here it's got the Holy Thorn. And it's got the tour, the Glastonbury tour in the background. It's got the characters from, you know, King Arthur. We've got Sacred Union with the Horned God and Horned Goddess. We've got the Mists of Avalon again with the beautiful Glastonbury tour in the background. So the Isle of Avalon. And then we just have the tour. It's got this beautiful hair. So I really love this deck. I really love it. And I found that had I remembered when I was in the Goddess shop in Glastonbury, I wouldn't have bought that deck. I would have just, because I feel that I will use this one a lot more. So that's the decks that I bought there. And then I got back from Glastonbury, unpacked my case, washed everything, and then packed another case because the day after that I went on my annual trip to the Seaside. I went for 3 days, which was just long enough. Joined my parents. I got to meet Patsy from Patsy T. She was Patsy's Mystical Musings. And before that she was Two Paths Tarot. Trying to remember, but yeah, she's Patsy T now because it's just about herself, her life, her spiritual practice, and not just about one particular thing like tarot or divination or mediumship. So I got to meet her in her home. She lives in one of the seaside resorts that I visit every time I go. So it was nice to have a coffee in her kitchen and have a catch up and just get to meet her. So that was lovely. And after I left Patsy's house, I called into Fairy Glen Secrets, which is the little shop that Rob's got, who's a member of the Hermit's Cave. And I was able to pick up this pre-owned collectible US Games version of the Golden Dawn Tarot deck. And I love it. I think it's from the 80s. These are the backs. It has the Kabbalah tree, the title card, and I seem to remember from the little book that was it 1983, something like that? 1978, sorry, 1978. And the cardstock is wonderful. They don't have any US Games logo on them or anything like that. I've not worked with it yet since I got back from my holiday. I've had so many other decks, but these cards, to say they're from 1978, so what, 42 years old, are in mint condition. Lovely, nice, large cards. Artwork is stunning. So I was able to get that. It wasn't a bad price, really. It was £50. So for a deck that's 42 years old, I know there are modern versions available, but I just love that. And there was a couple of decks it's got in there. It's got in there the Glastonbury Tarot as well, and an old version of the Universal Weight. So yeah. So while I was there, because I'd unpacked my bag, packed my bag, I forgot to put a tarot deck in. And I did a live on the first morning saying, I forgot my tarot. So whilst I was in Mablethorpe, my mum always buys me a crystal. It's become a tradition now. She buys me a crystal. I said, oh, I need to get a tarot deck, thinking she'll be like, you know. And she said, why? You've got loads. That question, why do you need a tarot deck? You've got lots. And so I forgot to pack one, and you know, I don't know about anybody else, but if I go away somewhere and I haven't got a tarot deck with me, I feel like I've lost an arm. It's just like, I need a tarot deck. And I didn't care what it was, just a bog standard one. And so I went into a little shop and they had the original Rider-Waite. And my mum said, I'll buy it you. And I was like, no, you know. She's like, no, I'll buy it you. I've got it. Your crystal hasn't cost as much as I thought, so I'll buy it you. And I mean, it is the original, the one that's called the original one that's out there in the shops. And it is pretty bad, you know. The coloration and everything is just, it's blotchy, it's oversaturated. And if you look at them side by side with, I don't know, any other RWS deck, you can see how blotchy it is. That said, I'm going to put the background. That said, this will always be a treasured deck now, because this is the, I was going to say the first, but the one and only tarot deck that my mum, with her beliefs, actually bought for me. So it will have a special place in my heart. So that was lovely, and it meant, again, I could do my readings morning and evening whilst I was away at the coast. So that was really nice. Not long after I got back, I received from Jens Freeborg, on social media as Mr. Freeborg, the Purgatorium. And he sent me 2 copies of this, one that has borders and one that's trimmed down. But this is a deck, it's an oracle deck. But look at the artwork, isn't it incredible? And it's based on Kubler-Ross's 7 Stages of Grief. That's the system it follows. And he has a handout that comes with it that you pull out, and it's like a matrix, where you pull your card and you have a look at the number and the title, work it across, and it gives you a keyword to work with. But I think the artwork in this deck is absolutely brilliant. And if I'm honest, I haven't, and I need to get some sort of bag or tin for this, because I keep putting it back in its little paper fold. I've been using this as a tool for kind of reflection. So I'm not necessarily convinced I believe or think that everybody who goes through grief follows those 7 stages of grief. And I'm not going through grief at the moment. So I find that the cardstock for this deck is is wonderful. These are the backs. It's got a cross on the back, plain black. It's really nice, but they're very emotive, these images. So I've just found that I've been shuffling this deck and pulling cards at random and just sitting with them and seeing what it evokes, you know, what comes up for me when I pull these images, because they're wonderful. So that's Purgatorium by Mr. Freeborg. I believe it was a Kickstarter campaign that wasn't successful, but I believe that he's going to bring it back, either back onto Kickstarter, use something like Make Playing Cards, but this deck will become available eventually. And I feel very blessed to have a prototype copy. So thank you, Jens, I really appreciate that. I also got this month from Conrad Stein's shop, who sells the CS Tarot, the Arnold, I think it's Arnold or Arnold. We don't pronounce the T with it being French, and this is a Marseille deck, and it was the first Marseille deck that he put on. These are the backs, and I just love the vintage, antique-y feel to this deck. Really beautiful in terms of the colours. It has Jupiter and Juno, so it follows that system. And I love the blues. The blues are really pale but really nice. So I had to have that in my collection. One, to support Conrad, but also just to get the Arnold. Another gift I got this month is the Morgan's Tarot, an old version. This is from the 1980s. And the lovely Stephanie Burrows sent me this deck. She was getting one for herself, and the seller had two, and she was like, is this the deck that you've been trying to get? And I was like, yes. And this is from 1983, this version. Again, it's available now. It's a very different type of tarot deck. One would use it as an oracle today, but it's got keywords on, like there are no mistakes. It's black and white. It was originally released in the 1960s, with releases in the 1970s, 80s, and even now. And I believe it's 88 cards. I think it's 88 cards. No suits or anything like that. It's a complete, you know, major arcana all the way through. I think I'll make a Buddha. So it's amazing. Keep up the good work. It's got these kind of affirmations and things on it. And again, 1980s, but it's got a lovely, lovely cardstock, almost a plasticky feel. Really, really good quality. So that was a lovely gift that I got as well, which, as I said, came from the wonderful Stephanie. Then came the JK Weight, which is an RWS deck from Japan that I have just wanted for forever. And this was sent by a lovely subscriber in Japan, where I believe they're not too difficult to get hold of, like it is here. And it is just wonderful. Such a wonderful, wonderful deck. This is the book. Obviously reads in reverse with it being Japanese. The cards, which I had a tin made for to protect them a little bit better, are just in amazing, amazing condition. The colours in this deck are incredible. Really beautiful. These are the backs. Lovely, simple design. But look, the reds. Just totally gorgeous. So this is the JK Weight. Look at the death card. So it's not just a recolouring of Pixie's artwork, it is totally redrawn, but follows very closely. It's a clone of the RWS, and I love it. And she sent so many lovely things, some edibles. She sent some beautiful tarot bags. If I show you one of them, because what I didn't realise when I opened it, sorry, I put one in my bag. I've got this one here, which is gorgeous, really gorgeous. And this one, here we go. This one I use all the time. And beautiful beads. This has got tiger's eye on the end. It has an inner bag which matches the inside. But Saye, who sent me the beautiful gifts, told me afterwards that these materials used for these pouches are from traditional Japanese kimonos, which I just thought was incredible, absolutely incredible. And this is beautiful because it fits inside, and there is a little zip part at the front where I put a quartz crystal point inside, but you could fit a little booklet in there if you wanted, a little white book. But yeah, so I have this and I carry this with me in my tarot bag, and I have used it, and I've used it to read for somebody, and it's wonderful. But what I also wanted to mention is she sent me, and I didn't realise at the time, she sent me this little bell. And I thought this was just a little mat, which it is, a little mat, but it's origami, which is, you know, part of Japanese culture. And it twists open. Let me see if I can do it. It twists open to form a little storage box to put your bell in. Isn't that the neatest thing? And then you just twist it back down and you've got a little cushion. Now, these are really heavy. This is a really heavy bell. This little donger is hematite, but the sound it makes is beautiful. Isn't that just gorgeous? The hematite little ball. I love it. So she goes in front of my goddess, just there. So yeah, I love that. And that was, again, I've been so blessed for the gifts that I've received during the month of August. It was like all my birthdays and Christmases come at once. And they weren't all sent at the same time. I mean, this took a couple of months from Japan to get here. And there was another deck as well that took a long time to get here. But it's just the way of the world at the moment, isn't it? All right, so what else did I get this month? Tarot in the tin, the little charms. I've showed this quite recently, and I really love this. And it didn't come out on camera. It might not again, but you get this little 14-sided die, which helps you choose your minor arcana. So for instance, I've just cast them out. If I pull a pentacle, and then I roll the die, and it lands on, and I don't know if you'll see this, probably not. There, let me try and catch the light. 13, do you see that? So that's 13. It does show under a light. That's the Queen of Pentacles, because it's 1 to 14. So ace through to 10, and then you've got your page, knight, Queen and King, which is 11, 12, 13 and 14. And it's wonderful. It's got, you know, the Hermit's lamp. It's got a happy squirrel. And I use the happy squirrel. It's kind of like the marker. So if I lay down the happy squirrel and I get the charms and I cast them, whatever comes near or nearest to the happy squirrel is my card for the day, and it's the sun. So the sun, they're just wonderful. They're really nice. There is a bit of a price difference. If you buy from Etsy, I believe they're £50, which I think is quite steep if I'm honest. But if you buy from the shop that's on eBay, her shop that's on eBay, and this is by Green Woman Crafts, then it's only £30. So I did that, and it's exactly the same. And I know somebody else who bought it did buy from Etsy and paid 50, not knowing about the shop. So yeah, there's a bit of a discrepancy of £20 there, but I caught it. But nice and compact, you can throw it in your bag, your rucksack, whatever, and take it about with you. I think this is going to be great for when I go away and things like that. So that's really nice. So I enjoyed playing around with them this month. Whilst I was in Glastonbury back early in the month, I kept picking up, we were in this tantric sex shop, spiritual tantric, well, tantric is a spiritual act. And I kept picking up this deck, which is the Art of Love Tarot, and it was only £22. And I kept picking it up and I'm thinking, well, I really do love the artwork of Tony Carmine Salerno, really do. And I've not got an oracle, sorry, I've not got a tarot of his work, but I have oracles. Anyway, for whatever reason, I think it's because I kept saying to myself, I'm not going to buy any tarot while I'm in Glastonbury. I'm only here to get, well, obviously for the meetup, but the only thing I'm going to buy while I'm here is the goddesses, or the goddess. I went with the intention of getting one, remember. But when I got back, I was still thinking about it. I was thinking, after, you know, the Inner Child cards, I kind of regret getting. The Avalonian Oracle, I kind of regret getting. So I was thinking, I wish I'd just got the Art of Love Tarot. So I went online, and it comes with a little bookmark as well with the book. It's by Blue Angel, which usually they're the publishers of Oracle decks. It was exactly the same price as it was there, £22. These are the backs, which are really nice. And the artwork is fantastic in this deck. But what I discovered was, and I think there's only a few left, in November, I think it's right at the end of November, like the 25th of November, this deck will become out of print because there is going to be a new version of it called the Tarot of Light. Now the packaging, whether they're just using old stock images, but the packaging for this deck looks exactly the same. It just looks like a name change, and I'm not sure why it's going from the Art of Love to the Tarot of Light. But I thought, well, actually, it would be kind of cool to have the original, and being as it's quite reasonably priced, and I love the artwork, then, you know, why not get it? So that's what I did. I bought it. Knowing me, I'll probably get the Tarot of Light anyway, just so I can do a bit of a comparison or have a look and see what the actual differences are. And if the cards are suddenly made matte, even better, because the only downside to this deck is the very glossy cards. What else has happened? The Dark Wood. I'm not going to say too much about this because we've just done a Tarot Times 2 days ago, where Becca, Elle and I all reviewed this deck in depth. Got it because, well, A, I wanted it, and B, for the purpose of review for the Tarot Times. And overall, you'll see my scorings and everything else. I really like it. The book in this deck is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And then a couple of more gifts. I received the Falaco's Tarot, which was by Nancy. And yeah, as I said in the video, she had personal reasons for wanting to gift this to me. And that's her story, not mine. But it really touched my heart. And since I've done the review of this, it's by Carmen Sorrenti. Carmen has actually reached out. She asked if she could share my video. And we've had some lovely exchanges, and she's just a wonderful person. These are the minors. And the thing about this deck is the art style differs between, this is the quartz. So you can see the difference in those two art styles. And again, you know, the aces and the knights are in black and white. Trail for the knights in black and white. Let me find you an ace. They're all blindfolded, the aces. Here's one of the aces. This is the ace of coral, which is earth. Which is spiral, sorry, it is earth. It's water, coral. And then we have knight. And it's just beautiful. Such a beautiful deck. And then if we look at some majors, there's the death card. This is our Fool, the very first card. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. Another Knight, Trail. The Hierophant. Oh, look at the Lovers. So, really gorgeous deck and such a powerful tool as well. I've not put it down since I received it last week. Really, really love working with it. I love that as well. The Six of Coral. Six of Cups, the Nostalgia card. Really gorgeous. And then, just a couple of days ago, I received 4 amazing decks from Stacey, who gifted me the Rabbit Tarot Deluxe Edition, the tarot size. And she sent me the Tarat Tarot, the Blue Dog Rose Tarot, and these are both poker-sized decks. And then she sent me the Riderless Tarot. Now, all 3 of these are by the same artist, which is Nikisha van der Hoven. And she also sent me this cute deck, which I've been loving over the last couple of days. And this is by Beth Salonen, who I adore. I've got one of her decks on the way. And this is the Isabel Snail Tarot. And it is the cutest little deck. Isabel Snail is in every card. Here's the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands. Really gorgeous, really loving it. That's our love card. The Hermit. So I really love these animal decks. I will do at some point over the next few weeks my favourite animal decks, because that's been requested so many times by people as well. Would love to see you do an animal deck, so I will do that. So the last deck that I've got to show you is this mini Tarot of Marseille, which I love. It's so diddy. It's the palm of my hand. It's in a lovely 2-part box by Lo Scarabeo. Oops, got dropsies today. Comes with a little white book. These are the backs, which are nice, but they're really, really nice quality cards. And yeah, quite durable, nice to throw in your bag. I saw somebody post it on the Hermit's Cave Facebook group. It's been out for a while, I didn't realise. I think at least, it's got 2020 on the little white book, but I think it's been out for at least 6 months, something like that. I know Nancy was talking about it as a deck that she was thinking of letting go because she couldn't get on with it, so she must have had it a while. But it's mini cards at the moment. Mini decks seem to be all the rage, don't they? And this is no exception, but it's a really nice quality one. And a bit like Lo Scarabeo have re-released the Radiant Wise Spirit as a mini, and it's like the Dirty Pam. It's not like what they did with when they went from having the Dirty Pam to having the Radiant Wise in the large format. But they really know how to do the nice boxes, because this sturdy linen finish box, 2-part, just like the Radiant Wise. So I really like that, and that's going to be going into my travel kit. Do you remember my travel altar kit? I might do an update video of that to show you what's in there if you want to see it. Or I could even do a live around it. Can't remember when I last updated it or showed it. But anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole, as I very often do. So, what a month. It's been a great August. I've been so blessed with kindness from people, as I said as well. I sat here at the beginning thinking, I haven't bought many decks, and I haven't, to be fair, apart from the ones I got on a trip, but I've received quite a lot as well, which is always nice. I am waiting on some other decks to come in the mail, so I will obviously show them when they arrive. But thank you for watching. How was your August? I like this time of the month when the new month comes round and the old month ends, because I do get to watch quite a few videos about how people have spent their previous month. So yeah, thanks for being with me. I've been on for, oh wow, I might have to edit this down quite a bit because I have waffled in places, but nearly an hour, and I thought this would be a really quick video. So thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for watching. Have a great week, everybody. And until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.